He's founder of QNOL. You may have seen his product in Costco to every single store. And FEA India. He runs soup kitchens. He's teaching kids English. He's a thought leader, change maker. Deepak, your view on future is very relevant to our audience. So you are living in United States for more than, I believe, 30 years?
Something like that, yes.
So please help us, help our audience understand your journey. You're an engineer, you become almost like get into the bio space and developing things, developing amazing products based on turmeric to Q10 and all other things. How that journey happened?
Well, firstly, thank you for having me on your show. And I think the inspiration for whatever I do really started in my teenage years. If I think back about it, a lot of it had to do with just the environment in India, growing up in Delhi, and my father's curiosity for learning. And he had the good fortune of having a scholar as a friend, as a discussion partner. And I was maybe a 13, 14-year-old, just sitting in and listening. Back then we didn't have television and a lot of distractions. So it was adult conversations were one way for us kids to learn. So the inspiration started at a young age, or the desire started at a young age to devote my life to making a difference in the lives of the impoverished, in the lives of the people around me that obviously didn't have a whole lot of opportunities and a whole lot going on for them. So that really is the genesis of it.
So Deepak, you talked about FEA India in a bit. I really want to talk about your professional career. So you did engineering from IIT Delhi. And so what you did after that? And I couldn't find information like you did undergrad in what?
Oh, I did my undergrad in chemical engineering. So but it was such a long time ago that don't ask me any technical questions.
Well, we can still talk about carbon.
Just about. I had a peculiar start to my career. It's not really replicable, which is that after while I was in college, I had started some businesses on the side. After I graduated, I tried to start another business. And with the grace of God, they all failed miserably. I mean, think about it. Had they succeeded, I'd probably be in Dundahera. That was one of the places that I was trying to get started in. And then I had this opportunity to come to New York for a job interview. And that job, I didn't get the job. And then somebody connected me with this very nice gentleman who ran a vitamin manufacturing business in New York. And he was kind enough to give me a job, even though he said, I don't really need you, but you look like you need a job, so I'll give you a few months. And that's really how we got started in an industry that I didn't even know existed. Because growing up in India, vitamins were not a separate industry. They were just part of pharmaceuticals. But in the US at that point in time, the natural products industry had started blossoming. And I joined it, and that's been part of my entrepreneurial journey ever since.
25 years or more, Deepak?
Yeah, it's about close to 30 years.
30 years, wow. So you are a chemical engineer. You came here for an interview, and then you got involved into the health business and really understand. So it's not really very well planned, if I may say that. However,
it was all stumbling. I just stumbled and fell into it. There's zero planning.
But all I can say it is the attribute to your success, because your product is in literally every single major stores, is your persistence, or is it your curiosity, or is it just luck?
A combination of all of them. persistence probably would be the key attribute for building that particular business. I cycled through a lot of iterations before I got it right, got the team right, and also some amount of luck for sure. Finding the right business partners made a huge difference to the effort. But it's you get out of bed every day and you stick with it. That's really it.
Make things happen. So,
Make things happen.
So Deepak, let's talk about impact on billion people. And I know you for almost now 7-8 years, and I saw how you are doing things. And I want to really talk about FEA India, which the organization you started, I'm assuming, roughly around 20 years ago. It's almost 2 decades.
It is, yeah.
And
that's right.
I'm assuming it started with a very simple idea where you say, hey, let me make the difference in the life of few people and see how far can we take it. Am I right?
You are. And more than an idea, it was really the desire. The desire was to do something, but I didn't really know how to go about it. And one of my personal mottos is ready, fire, aim. Figure you get started and things will work themselves out, and you get to shoot again also. So I started out with non-formal education centers in really deep slums of Delhi where there's no running water, there's no sewage system. You go there at 10 o'clock in the morning and there are kids playing. So something is wrong because it's 10 o'clock on a Monday morning. These guys should be in school. So we started a program for that segment of the population, and that was the starting point.
So, Deepak, I'm on the board of few nonprofit, Pratham, Word Women Foundation and all. And what I find it is all these organizations are, of course, very well run. They have a very large staff. When I look at the FEA India, the progress you have made is phenomenal, but you don't really have a huge staff. You don't really have a huge team. You're not doing big banquet. You're not doing a lot of fundraiser. So how do you do that? How do you manage all of that?
So actually, we have a reasonable sized team. We are about 700 people. So 700 is I guess,
pretty large number. I didn't realize.
Probably place us in the 20 largest secular NGOs in India. India, by the way, has more than 3 million NGOs operating, and so it's a very large number of entities. Wow. 3 million, yeah. That's a statistic I've seen. The reason that we don't have the visibility that, let's say, Pratham or many others do is just because we've never done any fundraising. And, we are very well known to our recipients, to our students, to the communities that we work in, but we're not known outside of those communities because really, think about Pratham. They're known to the average person because of their fundraising efforts.
Absolutely.
So that's really all it is. But
why aren't you raising funds? I know you write really, really large checks every year to support these 700 people and the whole organization, but why aren't you doing it?
I will do it at some point in time, I imagine. But really, more than money, the starting of an organization like Freedom Employability Academy or FEA is proof of the pudding. Are we doing good work? Mm-hmm. So before we go and tell everybody, hey, we're going to do this, that, and the other, I think we should actually do it. We should test it.
Let's talk about it, Deepak. I wanted to go a little deeper into that. So FEA, help me understand. I don't know you. I don't know anyone. And we met. How will you share with people what are you doing and what is the impact of FEA?
Yes. So firstly, the organization's full name is Freedom Employability Academy. And we have a fairly narrow focus. Our focus is on disadvantaged youth in the age group of, let's say, late teens and early 20s. The point in a young person's life when they make career choices and they get started with their work lives. For that segment, we've been developing and executing a training program that will hopefully make a big impact in their income levels and in terms of also their becoming good citizens of the nation and of the world, really not just the nation. So we started in urban areas, and in urban areas, given where the jobs are and what the reality of life is in terms of the assets and the opportunities available to them, we narrowed it down to three things that have the greatest impact on a young person's life, work life specifically. First is building English language skills to a level that makes you effective in the workplace. So we're not getting into literature type of stuff, but just being able to communicate effectively.
They can just have a conversation.
And have a conversation, be able to comprehend manuals, instructions, and be able to express yourself. The second, so that's just the starting point. It's, I would say, about a third of the program. But really, it's the second, the remaining part of the program that is more impactful, in my view. If you think about you and I and other IITians that have been working for 10, 20, 30 years, I think most people will agree that a lot of our success in life is attributable to our personal skills like grit, self-confidence, determination, learning how to learn, adaptability, ethics, the ability to communicate, collaborate, get along well with others, work in teams. So those are the skills that we build or in conjunction with building the English language skills. We also add in things about doing something for the greater good as part of everybody's mission in life.
Bigger purpose.
Yeah. So I'll give you a very small example of that. India, as we all know, Delhi especially, is an extremely dirty city. It's dirty not because God doesn't come and clean it. It's dirty because those of us who live there don't think twice about cleaning it up ourselves.
It's a civic sense.
So we started. Correct. So we started a project. We asked our students, hey, every Sunday morning, can you spend 20 minutes and clean 20 feet of the street outside your home? That's it. It's just 20 feet of everybody's outside your home on the street, the public spaces. The students love it. I mean, if this catches fire, look at the difference that could make. But the fact is that we don't have to push the students. We just suggested it, and everybody does it. Everybody shares pictures of on social media of them doing what they're doing. So I think once you start talking about these things, the students are very receptive. So the English skills, the personal skills, and then the third component is, given the lack of resources that disadvantaged youth in general have, we make them comfortable with online learning, with MOOCs. So if you think about a young person living, a banana seller's daughter doing a Harvard or a Coursera program from home, that is pretty interesting and exciting to watch. Yeah. So those are the three things that we do currently, and I'll talk later about what I'm excited about, which is the next level program.
Very cool. So Deepak, so I want to talk a little bit more about your entrepreneurship journey and the challenges you have faced, because most of our audience, we have 450,000 alums globally in 100 plus countries now.
Wow.
I'm inviting all of them to participate and help us create the future of humanity. That's a big charter PenID USA has taken. We want to connect with every single one, and not just IITian. The dream we have is we bring in engineers of the future, I'm calling it. It doesn't matter you are from IIT or you are even educated as an engineer or not, or your qualification. It's about engineer of the future, because if you want to make the difference, if you want to change the world, you have to come. And if you are with the like-minded people, and I believe our platform, PenID USA, is an amazing platform where we can bring in these phenomenal people and create values, such as things like what you are doing, cleaning your just 20 feet outside your house. Can this go a wide spread and create the whole nation? And you and me both know the minute we start doing that, it changes everything. And what we are talking here is a movement. And I'm taking IIT 2020 conference as a movement. It is not just a conference where we go and talk and then we leave, we get inspired, we get some ideas, amazing speakers, of course, we have, such as you. And but the big thing we are really looking for is, can we create almost like a foundational layer where we can co-innovate and collaborate as a global citizen. We are stop thinking ourselves as a citizen of just one country, because we are all on this planet Earth and we are here to help each other. And you and me see every single day, there is so much we can do, and there are so many opportunities we have to change the humanity or the future of humanity.
Yes.
So coming back to
I
that,
completely agree.
Coming back to that is, a lot of time people ask me, hey, Sanjiv, non-profit, for-profit, social enterprise, all of that. But in reality, you and me both know, for us to do good, we have to add value. And when we add value, the rewards, financial reward always comes back. That's given. So
Yes.
Talk about your journey as an entrepreneur and message for the people who wants to start on this journey, or they want to be part of some team, or they want to do something. Can you share your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll go back to something I said earlier. Ready, fire, and aim. Don't overthink it.
But that's just scary. I cannot do that. I'm here on H-1B visa. Don't say that, Deepak. This is very easy for you to say because you are here. Let's talk about the people who just got here. The poor guy is, I'm sorry, he's on H-1B visa, or he's here on a business visa, or he's even in India, because we have audience all over the world. How you do that? I mean, he's worried about paying his next month rent check.
True, you're right. You cannot be oblivious to the conditions and the restrictions that are, placed on you. But don't let that scare you. Don't let that stop you. At the end of the day, we all need very little to survive. We don't need fancy cars and fancy homes and large apartments. We certainly don't need to spend, if you're a young person and if you're not married, you certainly don't need to have a big fat wedding. You don't need to, you don't need to spend money on those kinds of trivial things. You don't have to. You may if you want to, but you don't have to. But within the constraints that we have, we can all do a lot. And you really have to think of it this way: shine where you stand. Don't wait for the conditions to change. Don't wait for something else to happen. If it's to be, it's up to you. You just have to go forward with your ideas, with your dreams. But of course, be practical. You're not devoid of common sense.
Yeah. So what I hear from you is two things, actually, and I'll summarize it. One is fear and faith, both are in future, and you get what you want or you believe in. So if you have fear of failing, you are going to fail. If you have faith and confidence of winning, you will, irrespective of your circumstances today. So you have to take your chances. You have to push yourself, yes. Otherwise you will be where you are. And I completely resonate with me. And second thing is persistence. For you to be successful doesn't matter whether you're an entrepreneur, because to me, entrepreneurship is not about starting a company. For me, entrepreneurship is a mindset, and how you apply that mindset wherever you are, within the organization, non-profit, for-profit. It's all about seeing things and helping, creating things from there, and taking yes. accountability, taking charge and pushing it further, and bringing the element of humanity to that. So the one big thing I'm hearing from other speakers too, and I know you are a big example of that, is empathy. So when we work, when we do things in an organization, say, hey, it is business. Nothing is business. It's personal. The conversation you and me are having is personal. The organization we build is personal. Whether the personalization is happening in a digital environment or in a physical environment can be very different. So these are some of the things I'm hearing from a lot of the people: courage and persistence. So if you have courage yes. and you have persistence, the rest of the things will fall in place. And it doesn't matter if you fail. It's not about failing or not failing. It's about, have you tried? Did you give your best? Did you burn your boat before you did that? Because that is a big thing. A lot of time we are always creating these parallel career and path, and that doesn't happen. because you are not really into it. You are just wetting your toes. Doing proof of concept is very different than wetting your toes, because you are not committed. So commitment has to be there, and then you can do proof of concept. You can start with something and grow from there. We saw the company like Google, how it has grown. I mean, they started as a small search company.
Yes.
And today where they are, I mean, they are in every single aspect of our life. Same thing with Amazon. So coming back to that is, let's talk about giving back. And we see globally, there are a lot of great organizations, including Gates Foundation, to our own Desh Deshpande, Ramesh Wadhwani. They are doing phenomenal work, and you are doing amazing work. You have donated more than $20 million till date, and you are not stopping. You are going to take it further. And I want to know, what is next for you, Deepak?
Yes. Because of the pandemic, we all saw the misery that the migrants underwent. And, we started some emergency programs.
Migrants, you're talking about the migrant labor?
Internal migrants in India. Internal migrants in India.
Okay.
So we started some emergency programs like food and stuff like that. Then I thought about what else could help people. And it occurred to me that everybody's scurrying to leave the cities and go back to their villages and hometowns. But once they get there, what next? There aren't that many employment opportunities in the villages. That's why they left them in the first place.
Yeah.
So we've started this return to work program where we said to, where we, getting this message out that anybody who wants a ticket to go back to the city, we'll buy you a ticket, we'll a train or bus or whatever it takes to get you back to your workplace. So that's an ongoing program.
Nice.
But the interesting thing that came out of this for me was that we've had a fairly decent amount of success with our current city-based program for the urban youth. What made me unhappy about it was that while these are very needy and deserving youth, they're not the poorest of the poor. The poorest are really the marginalized rural youth. So if you think about villages, there are some farmers that have land holdings and they're okay. But the people that have no assets, no land, and they work for farmers who are not very wealthy anyway, they're basically in a very difficult spot.
True. And
it's really difficult for them to break the cycle of poverty. You have extreme cases like the mushahars in Bihar and UP that end up eating rats. And that is in 2020. This is happening now.
We talked about it.
Yeah. So the good thing that came out of this exercise for me is that we have the outlines now of a program to work with rural youth and help them up their game and become more employable. And so we're starting this process. We zoomed in on a place called Mewat. Mewat's claim to fame is it's only 2 hours away from IIT Delhi, so it's not that far away. And it's one of the poorest areas in the country.
Wow.
One of the poorest.
Wow. And it's only 2 hours.
That's remarkable. And only 2 hours from IIT Delhi. So we're focusing on the Mewat region and piloting our program over there. And in a couple of years, we'll be happy to share our findings with you if we can make a difference in their lives or not. When I say difference, it has to be very significant. At our urban program, we're finding that incomes go up by double, triple, and in some cases quadruple.
Wow.
So that is a significant difference, and we need to get something similar happening in the rural areas.
So I'm going to correct you on one thing, Deepak. Knowing you for so long, you cannot use word can. You will. I know you will find ways to do it. And that's the big thing I learned from you, Deepak, is you are unstoppable. And whenever I meet you, I really get inspired. And not just because of your professional growth and the work you have done, and you are in every single store, is really you are pushing yourself every single day. You don't have to do any of this. You can write a check to any other organization and you still feel good about it, but you are not stopping. See, there are not many people I have seen, because writing check, we both know, is tough, but that's not the biggest thing. Is how do you ensure that it is deployed properly? How do you ensure the impact is there? How do you ensure that it is not being utilized? It's just changing things. And that is phenomenal what you're doing. So coming back to that, Deepak, so I really like what you're doing. And now work from home has changed everything. In fact, you and me have seen almost 40 to 50% of the construction workers and the people who are in the low-end jobs, they went back to their villages. And then the pressure on the village economy is very high, because now these are consumer too, as well as now they had a small piece of land or nothing. Now they have no job. So you have to think of reskilling them. And Indian government is doing a lot of work. But Deepak, let's talk a little bit about America. Okay, you and me are American citizens. And this is our nation too.
It absolutely is. No question about it.
And you and me are able to do these things because of this country, the opportunities we get, and the people who gave us all these opportunities. Because you and me both know, when we talk about things, people don't see the whole picture. So we both are very grateful to where we are in our life and the opportunities we get, and people who trusted us, and then people who work with us. I have so many friends from every single race and gender here in America, and every single one is teaching me something. So
yes,
so the world is changing, the environment is changing, but I see the similar kind of problems in this country.
Yes,
and I know I'm involved into a few nonprofit. I know you are involved into a few nonprofit. Can you help me understand one area where, as an IITian community, we can help? We have 50,000 plus IITian in America. I believe the impact we have is tremendous on the economy. I believe all of us have combined wealth we have created for every single American citizen is phenomenal, but we are not really doing enough when it comes to social impact.
That's a very interesting question. And frankly, I haven't thought as extensively about it as you have and many others have. But I'll step back and tell you about one of my operating principles. It's really simple. A sharp knife cuts better than a blunt knife, because all of the pressure is focused on a tiny area. To me, it's important that rather than going in multiple directions, take one cause and make it not your passion, make it your obsession, so you can make a difference at it. Now, globally, that obsession can be anywhere. It could be in India, it could be in America. I would love for it to be in Pakistan. I would love for us Indians to do something in Pakistan, just because it's the right thing to do. I think all human life is equal. So I'm not going to distinguish between somebody that's my religion or a different religion, my state or my country or whatever. I just think all of us are the same, and just do something somewhere. I think we can all be more effective if we just laser focus ourselves.
Analyze it. Yeah. No, I completely agree with you, Deepak. But the reason I brought this up is, in the current context today, we talk about, especially we talk about Black Lives Matter. And reality is, the problem we have, it is even today, I think we are still treating the symptom, not the problem. The problem is all these kids, where they are, they're product of their environment. As a society, we left them alone. As a society, we haven't done and given them opportunities so they can learn, they can see the opportunity, they can see the future. And we go to these areas, we drive these areas and say, why these kids are not in school? Exactly the same question you had when you were in India 20 years ago. Why these kids are home? Why these kids are doing these kind of things? And the challenge they have, it is the environment they have around them is the problem. And nobody is talking about fixing that. We are trying to make it a movement instead of solving the problem. And the problem is very easy. You and me both know it's the same solution what you have applied in India. It's the same solution here. How do we create an environment where these kids can go to school, they have the teacher, they have the people, and we educate their parents. This is, hey, this is important for their future. If I talk to some of them, I still remember an interview a few years ago. And one father was talking about his like the future of his kid, and he says, oh, only way he can be out of this ghetto is by becoming a rap artist. And I'm saying there are plenty of opportunities. We are importing hundreds of thousands of software engineers even today, on and off, not that much, but tons of people are coming globally to this country to make this home, and they make a very, very successful life and create and contribute to the economy and contribute to the society. We are here, tons of people, and we are not able to do that. It kind of baffles me. And it's a question. I wish I have the answer. I wish I can. I mean, I definitely would like to do that and solve it if I can somehow. But the big problem I see it is as a community of 50,000 plus IITians in America, we are not thinking of education in US because the problem is same here. And the people like you are doing an amazing job. I'm not saying that you should not do that. All I'm saying is, Deepak, we have to find ways and really solve this education. This is a global problem. It is a pandemic today. I mean, look at this is the biggest pandemic. If we solve the education, we solve all the global problem, including terrorism, in my opinion.
You're absolutely right. It is a very large problem, and a lot of good minds are working on it, and it needs a lot more people of goodwill to give it their attention and make it their mission in life to make a difference, because it's really important, and it's a very important issue that needs to be solved.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you agree on it, and hopefully we will find like-minded people, and our IIT2020 platform will inspire a lot more. And we start thinking about this country, our country, right here too, and start getting engaged and solve some of these problems, because the systems and the processes we have developed and experimented actually. So this is a good thing is you have done a lot of research, you have a lot of failures. Bring those lessons and really start working with and here the good thing is money is not the challenge. This is what I saw in this country. Money is never a challenge. People are ready to pour in because they are so giving. I haven't seen people like Americans especially. They're so giving when it comes to a cause. If it appeals to them, they will do anything. We just need to find the right vehicle. I mean, I get inspired when I go to some church, or I get inspired when I go to any place. It just, people are so giving. And even you and me,
it's remarkable.
We are a product of that. The only thing worked for us is we got great education. And the only difference is the people who are struggling in this country today. And I feel really bad for all of them because they don't have the education. Only thing missing, they don't have education. Everything else they have.
And the resources are there. The resources to do the work are available.
So let's talk in some other segment. We are almost pretty much end of our segment. So do you have a challenge for IITians?
A challenge for IIT, I think, well, I'd like to go back to what we talked about earlier, which is that look at ways to compensate the country, at least for your education. And then, of course, do other stuff beyond that.
Absolutely. Not just that, I will expand it further, Deepak. Anybody who has contributed to our education, we owe it to them. It's not just our institution. Every single person who has helped us getting here, we have to be grateful and thankful to them too.
Absolutely. And in fact, I was not referring necessarily to the institution. I was referring to the 100,000 plus people that paid taxes on their matchboxes to fund the institution. Those are the people that need our help. I mean, those are the people that does not need our help, but need our gratitude.
Yes. And paid for our education till date, actually. And because of them, we are able to create thousands and thousands of multi-billion-dollar organizations in global.
That's right. So it would be good to repay the favor.
Absolutely. And we are going to talk about IIT Delhi Excellence Foundation. I love your idea to expand it and create a large board. And we have an ongoing basis, and we work with the institute and create more value for how we are going to invest and how we are going to help the institution globally. IIT is definitely one. And even here, let's find like-minded people and try to change. Not try, let's change. And change is coming. We all know that. So once again, thank you very much, Deepak. It was such an amazing conversation. I really enjoyed it. And I want to thank all the audience we have. And for all of you, please join us on December 4th and 5th, IIT2020.org. Go and register. Ask your friends to register. This is an event all inclusive. We are inviting every single person. If you are the engineer of the future, please come and join us. We have amazing leaders coming, leaders who can inspire and encourage all of us to create the fabric, create the foundation of humanity. Thank you.